Hello fight lovers, today in this video, Conor McGregor shocked everyone when he announced that his return to fight will be the biggest fight in UFC history. Conor is preparing something amazing for UFC fans, and this is exciting.
Nick Diaz is coming back to the octagon, coming back to the UFC, and he's coming back to winning ways. But who is it going to be again?
With that, the coach of Nick Diaz came out and sent a cryptic message to the MMA world about the Diaz-McGregor fight. This is a very fascinating story, so let's explain it. Nick Diaz won't like to be remembered for his last performance, and now the chances of his return are bigger than ever. And not only that, but we can even see who his next opponent is going to be, taking into consideration that his coach named McGregor as the biggest potential opponent of his student. The question that arises to that is that, as we already know, McGregor announced his acting debut in the Roadhouse remake, also posting a farewell tweet to MMA. However, the rumors that McGregor would retire and start a new acting career were put on standby again when the Irishman posted another tweet after his news, hinting at a return. The greatest and biggest sports comeback in all of the history. Will you be a witness? Were the exact words of McGregor, keeping his fans in suspense and anticipation. What did he mean by that? Is he putting the rumors of his MMA farewell to sleep? Not only that, but if he is serious about his return, what opponent would it be to make his comeback the biggest and greatest in sports history? Would it be Nick Diaz? It would make sense, taking into consideration that Nick and his brother Nate are one of the biggest superstars in all combat sports, and Nick's coach agrees with that. I would love to see Nick and McGregor fight, 100%, because I think it would be insane. It would be great. I think they both have respect for each other, their skills and everything. I think it would be an amazing fight. I do, said Cesar Gracie. He revealed that Nick Diaz would possibly return to action in early 2023, where he can face McGregor. Is it just a coincidence that McGregor's latest tweet was hinting at a return to MMA, and at the same time, Nick Diaz's coach pointing out the idea of Nick fighting Conor? Or do they already have a verbal agreement, something we don't know about yet? Only time will tell, but this could be a bad idea for Conor if you ask me.
The good news is, as a fan of Nick Diaz, a fan of this sport, we'll get to see Nick Diaz in the octagon, hopefully fighting to his ability level, to his potential. And against McGregor, come on. But Nick Diaz looked heavy in the midsection, he didn't seem himself, so it all kind of makes sense. So, Conor McGregor, Nick Diaz, pay-per-view. The only problem is, the only wrinkle is, if McGregor fights, it's always a main event. Okay, so I don't think Nick would come in as a main event. It's Matt Brown. Matt Brown would be a sensational one. It really would. I mean, what a fun fight that would be.
Nick Diaz is a bigger fighter than Conor, a true middleweight, while McGregor always had some problems with bigger opponents. And if Nick returns as his true self, a cardio king, he could truly outpace and wear McGregor down with constant pressure and volume punching. And that would be even bigger factor considering that this would be for sure a 5-round fight. One thing that we know about McGregor is that he gasses out after the second round, and this is where Nick Diaz is actually shining. It was a disappointment to many how Nick Diaz performed in his last fight against Robbie Lawler. No disrespect to Robbie, who is one of the best in the world, but there was something that was not quite right about Nick in that fight. Almost a year has passed since their confrontation, and now Nick's coach, Cesar Gracie, finally revealed the reason behind that. We all saw that Stockton's favorite son was not even a shadow of himself in that battle. And the biggest surprise to everyone was that Nick literally surrendered and gave up in that fight. Something that was unthinkable for the Diaz brothers before. Well, all that makes sense now after his coach, Cesar Gracie, told Submission Radio that Nick fought with 2 ruptured discs in the neck in the octagon. That not only shows that Nick was compromised in that fight, but also, once again, proves his toughness, taking into consideration that 90% of the fighters would pull off a fight if they had the same kind of injury. So Nick, he went into that fight and his neck was pretty messed up, Gracie told Submission Radio. So Nick had an operation very recently, here 7 weeks ago. So 2 of the discs had ruptured in his neck before the fight. So he was having numbness in his hands, elaborated the coach. Also, the other thing that surprised many was that initially the fight was supposed to take place at 170 pounds, and at the last moment it was rescheduled to 185. This is what Gracie had to say in regard to that. That's why he didn't make 170. He fought at 185. It is because it was impossible to train. He just didn't have any strength. He didn't have what you're used to. The Nick Diaz you know, he didn't have it. This only indicates one thing. The return of McGregor is questionable itself. Even though he tweeted about a possible return, the question is, why would he do that? His attention is now even further away from MMA, enjoying a yacht, preparing for his acting debut, and nevertheless, he has a gruesome leg injury a year ago. Fans are already fed up with his retirement games, and their skepticism about his return is higher than ever. But what do you guys think? Do you think McGregor will return and fight Nick Diaz next? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because it helps our channel grow.